Hello again, friends. Welcome back. My name is Oscar Montesiga, certified wine and spirits instructor for the International Wine and Spirits Guild, and welcome back to the Uncorked Vintage Academia's booze library. Today, stick around with me. I'm going to show you how to make 4 cocktails, 4 very, very classic drinks that really spanned well over 100 years. So, we're making you martinis today. And really, the martini is a drink that comes from pretty old school traditions prior to the 1900s. I would say late 1800s, early 1900s. And the martini family of cocktails developed after something called the Martinez. So the Martinez cocktail is like the old school, very old school forefather of the martini drinks. But today, I'm gonna give you a couple of different variations, so stick around. I'm gonna make you first what we would simply call either a classic martini or just a martini. Just plain and simple, it's a martini. So to make a martini or a classic martini, we're gonna use 1.5 ounce of Old Tom gin. 1.5 ounce. And this is a drink that's stirred, so I'm gonna dump that into my mixing glass. Old Tom gin is a style of gin that I guess if you get the European version, may be a little dry. So it's a dry Old Tom gin. In the United States, Old Tom gin can be a barreled gin, so something that touched wood. It's an aged gin, and sometimes, or usually, it is sweetened. So it is a slightly off-dry gin. It's a sweeter gin than most gins. So 1.5 Old Tom gin. You're gonna use red vermouth, also 1.5 ounces. So I already have that pre-measured. 1.5 ounces of red vermouth. I'm using Carpano Classico, and for the most part, for my recipes, I use when I use red vermouth, I do either Italian or Spanish vermouth. For white vermouth, I normally go French. So 1.5 of each. And then I'm using Regans, orange bitters. And season your cocktail. I don't want to be afraid of the orange in the cocktail, because it's really part of the essence of this martini. So orange bitters, red vermouth, Old Tom gin. And I'm going to stir this for you. So all you need is to chill down the drink. I'm going to be serving this drink straight and up. So I have a chilling coup, and that's going to be true for all of these martinis. In your chill coup, you can either, bring the glass out from your freezer if you have that capability, or just chill your glass with ice and water. Move this up so you can see. And you can see that glass starting to form a little bit of haze. So of course, chilling this is twofold. I'm chilling it, but also diluting it. Once I've chilled these enough and diluted it, I'm gonna dump this for you and strain. So straight on knob, you want to get the martini as cold as you can, because we're not serving it with ice, right? And lastly, traditionally you can do a garnish of either olive or lemon peel, lemon rind, lemon twist for this classic martini. But because we used orange bitters, I'm actually gonna garnish with orange twist. And what you'd like to do is just grab that, express the oils, you can go around if you like, and drop that twist in there, the martini. Beautiful, pretty orange aromatics. You know, it's a sweeter drink than than dry martinis or other vodka martinis, for example. I would treat this for something during a meal or even after a meal. And of course, depends how dry or sweet you like. You may want to change your ratio, your balance of gin to vermouth if you want something drier or sweeter. But that's the martini for you. So next I'm going to make you a dry martini. I'm going to start by adding some water here to my mixing glass, just so I can just rinse that real quick. And very similar process actually, but we're gonna bump the alcohol a little bit. So again, get a dry vermouth. Well, you'll need a dry vermouth, but you also need a dry gin. So we're gonna do 3 ounces of dry gin or gin. You can use London Dry or something else. I'm using Hendrick's today. Find a gin that you like to mix, that is dry, highly aromatic, and really only about half an ounce of white vermouth, a dry white vermouth. I'm using Dolin Vermouth de Chambéry, one of the very few AOCs of vermouth. And essentially, same thing, I'm gonna chill it down for you. Keep there. Very same idea here. I just want to chill it and I want to dilute it, right? Same serving glass. We're gonna use a chill coupe, straight and up, dry martini, dry gin, and dry vermouth. And in this case, we're gonna garnish with a lemon twist, which is the traditional garnish for the dry martini. Same thing, express oils, go around. And again, this gives you just pretty aromatics that your guests are gonna experience when they first taste the drink. Salud, dry martini. Classic, and just a lot more, it's just right. So a great aperitif before a meal. Certain dishes it can go with the meal, but it is really an aperitif to get your digestive juices going and makes you crave food. All right. So next up, I'm gonna give you the most popular variation of a dry martini, which is a vodka martini. In this case, I'm gonna use a shaker. So into the shaker, I'm gonna use 3 ounces of vodka. You want a nice clean vodka. And basically, vodka drinkers or vodka martini drinkers are not looking for the same thing as a martini drinker, a classic or dry martini drinker. They just want a very, very cold drink, a very neutral drink with high alcohol. So 3 ounces of vodka went in there. A lot of people jokingly say, you know, that you want just to pass the vermouth around the drink. Because, again, vodka drinkers are not looking for vermouth. They're not looking for the high botanical aromatics that vermouth has. So you may want to ask, maybe they ask you for a dry vodka martini, dry meaning they don't really want. You can also, you know, in your coupe, put a splash in then, throw it around like a rinse, a vermouth rinse, if you want to do that. Today, for the sake of complexity, I'm going to throw in just a quick splash of Dolin white vermouth and the vodka. And that's really just it. We're going to bring a chill coupe and into the shaker, wet ingredients with ice, and shake to wake it up, not to put it to sleep. I don't know if you can see this, the shaker is pretty much formed a frosty, velvety frost on the outside. That's what I'm looking for. You want to get it as cold as you can, so it stays cold for as long as it can. Chill coupe, we serve straight and up. And you can see very much, you know, a huge difference already between the dry martini and the vodka martini. Shaking it not only makes it really cold, but you infuse that drink with an airiness, a lot of bubbles, a lot of oxygen, a lot of air within it. So it creates a lighter, obviously refreshing, velvety drink. And your classic garnish and olive, the vodka martini. Cheers. It's clean, light, refreshing. That's what I'm looking for. Of course, if you have people that like olives, they'll let you know to have more olives, or make it a dirty martini, which is a little bit of olive brine. And again, that may be why you don't want to use vermouth. But 2 very different drinkers and drinks, of course. And basically, these people just want to have something light, refreshing, and clean. Great for before dinner, but maybe not as complex as the other martinis. So next up, I'm gonna give you a 4th variation within the martini family, and I'm gonna give you a Gibson. Gibsons can be a little bit peculiar. They can be divisive because they're built very, very, very much in the same way that you would build classic dry martini for the most part. So we're gonna do 2 ounces, really only 2 ounces of dry gin, and 1 full ounce of vermouth, white dry vermouth. So again, Dolin vermouth de Chambray, 1 ounce, 2 ounces of gin, and we're done. So you can see how similar it is to this dry martini. Of course, as you see, that drink is stirred as well. And let's do it. Same methodology here. You'll need a chill coupe. And well, you may be asking yourself, so what's the big deal? What's the difference between a dry martini and the Gibson? And that's a fair question. And a great question. Really, the only thing that can make the Gibson is the garnish, which is pickled onions. However, if you're getting just store-bought, plain, lame onions, then you're doing the Gibson a disservice, and basically you just created a martini with an onion garnish. If you want to make your Gibson memorable, then you need homemade, house-made pickled onions. And my onions currently have rosemary, thyme, dill, mustard seeds, coriander, garlic, lemon, and of course vinegar to pickle them. But this, your garnish, is what makes the Gibson. If you use any good old onion, it's not a memorable Gibson, so the Gibson became a martini with a garnish of onion. Versus the Gibson, it creates a drink that your guests will remember because, hey, I had these crazy, great tasting onions. And it's incredible how the seasoning on the cocktail onions really work well with the vermouth and the aromatics from the gin. The Gibson, for your pleasure. Also a great aperitif before dinner meal, and also a great drink for a course, for an actual pairing during the meal. So 4 martinis, 4 different styles of creating a very similar drink from the martini family, from the old school Martinez. I would say that one of these is really an aperitif, and it really wants you just to start the party, versus the other 2 white martinis that are both an aperitif and with a meal, versus the old school classic martini that's really a digestive or with a meal, but also just to close the dinner because it has a little bit of sweetness that the others lack. So I hope you've enjoyed this video to learn how to make a martini of your choosing, and also just so that you ask better questions when you have a guest, your guest asks you for a martini, that you can ask better questions to deliver the drink that they really looking for. So thanks for watching. Please hit subscribe to stay tuned for your next video. Cheers.